So welcome everyone to our Co-op and Careers Experience live stream. We are so excited to welcome you to our session this evening. So just before we get started, I just want to introduce myself and our amazing panel tonight. So hi everyone, I'm Chloe and I will be the moderator of this session. And with me today, I have an all-star panel that will talk about all things co-op and career experience at Trent University. So we have Hannah, who is the Career Resource Advisor, as well as Sabrina, who is the Co-op Coordinator. And we are excited about the path you have ahead of you and look forward to sharing all of the reasons why Trent has been ranked the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for the past 13 consecutive years. So tonight will go as follows. Hannah and Sabrina will have a presentation for you all, and then following that, the floor is open for you to ask all the questions directly to us. So please feel free during the presentation to pop them in the Q&A, and we will be so happy to answer them after the presentation. So with that being said, we can get the presentation started.
Thanks so much, Chloe. Hi, everyone. My name is Sabrina Kuipers. I work in Career Space as the co-op coordinator and team lead for our Humanities and Social Sciences co-op programs. And I am coming at you today with my colleague, Hannah Neff. Hannah is the Career Resource Advisor at Career Space. And we're really excited to be with you tonight to chat with you all about co-op careers and the different forms of experiential learning at Trent University. So Hannah and I work at Career Space. We are the career center located on campus. We're in the student center, and we are here to help you with anything to do with your career development. So these are some of the services that our office offers. We have career advising appointments and career counseling appointments. So you can always book a one-to-one appointment with a staff member to chat about what you can do with your undergraduate degree. These services are also available to all alumni as well, and there's also appointments to support you with things like resumes, cover letters, and job search. CareerSpace also offers a multitude of different workshops and events on campus. We bring employers to campus, volunteer organizations, and do a lot of networking events. And then we facilitate different forms of experiential learning out of our office as well. So things like co-op, placements, practicums, internships, and community-based research. So we're just going to dive into some different forms of experiential learning and just explain briefly the differences between. We are going to do a deeper dive into all of these different experiential types through this session. So the first one is cooperative education. Trent has recently seen a rapid expansion of co-op programs at our institution. So next fall, we will be up to 27 different co-op programs across the humanities, social sciences, and sciences. We also have internship opportunities. So internships are paid experiences. They are for academic credit. They're full-time. So a student is not in classes during an internship. They're out with an employer, and internships are anywhere between 6 months, 8 months, or 12 months in duration. We also offer field placements. So field placements are also for academic credit. They're part of an academic course and they happen on more of a part-time basis. So you might be with an employer anywhere between like 5 to 10 hours per week. And you would also be studying in school during a placement. We have community-based research as well, which is an opportunity to participate with an employer or organization out in community to help them address a research question that they have. We have community service learning. So this is also part of an academic course. Community service learning is typically anywhere between 1 to 3 hours per week, and it runs the duration of a semester. And then we have professional practicums, and these are opportunities that are supervised by a regulated or licensed professional. So the first type of experiential learning we're going to chat with you about is co-op. So with co-op, students follow a very specific sequence or what we call a work term schedule. And we're going to show you what one of those looks like tonight as well. But essentially with co-op, students are alternating between being in full-time study terms and then full-time work experiences. And students will follow this alternating schedule throughout the course of their degree. So throughout your degree, you would complete 3 paid 4-month work terms, roughly 35 hours per week. You'd gain some really great hands-on experience with a host employer or organization. You would get to really hone your skills, so build upon your transferable or soft skills, gain some really great marketable skills that are going to help you moving forward in your career. Co-op also is a unique opportunity to gain some insight into the labor market before you graduate. So as part of your co-op journey, you will be doing labor market research and learning a little bit about different industries and fields and opportunities available to you. And then one of my favorite pieces about co-op is you really are making those connections. So lots of great opportunities to network with different industry professionals in the field that's of interest to you. And then also connecting with folks that might become future employers for you. So really getting connections to those professionals in your field. And when you graduate, having a nice competitive edge or advantage. So at Trent, we will have 27 co-op programs as of next fall. So here's a full list of the co-op programs that we offer. We have a wide range of programs across the humanities, sciences, social sciences, and we have some new programs to highlight starting next year. We'll have a human rights co-op program and a software engineering co-op program. We also have programs that are offered here at the Peterborough campus, which is where Hannah and I work, but we also have some great co-op programs offered at our Durham campus. So we have our business administration, accounting, communications, and criminology co-ops offered at the Durham campus. Here you're going to see a sample co-op work term schedule. So as I mentioned, co-op students do alternate between being on campus for full-time studies. So you're registered in about 2.5 credits each term or 5 courses, and then you alternate between going out with an employer for a paid work experience. So this is a sample schedule. Majority of the co-op programs at Trent do follow this exact schedule. So this is the one that I like to use, but there are some programs that have a slightly different schedule. Almost all of our co-op programs will involve you graduating in 4 years' time with 12 months of relevant work experience. So you're finishing at the same time as you would if you were not in a co-op program, but you're gaining that really great work experience. And so in this schedule, you see that the blue work term blocks are when you would be out working. And you'll notice that in year 3 summer and year 4 fall, those 2 work terms are what we call back to back. So in a situation like this, which almost every co-op program at Trent does offer a back to back work term, you could either complete 2 4-month experiences or you could complete 1 8-month experience with a single employer. So the option is really up to you. Co-op does simulate a real-world recruitment process. So as such, students are applying to co-op positions, they're interviewing for roles, and they do need to secure a successful offer in order to begin their co-op experience. And so here are the student requirements needed for co-op. So in the first block in our table, we have our admission requirements. All of our co-op programs do require a minimum 80% cumulative average and a minimum of 60% in grade 12 English, but we do have some co-op programs that have some additional requirements, and those are noted on the slide here. So for our business, accounting, and computer science co-ops, you also need to take a grade 12 math course. For the new software engineering program, you'll need to take grade 12 advanced functions and either calculus or data management. For financial science, we're looking at you also having advanced functions or calculus. And then for our conservation biology co-op program, we're looking at grade 12 advanced functions or calculus, and then grade 12 chemistry and grade 12 biology. We do say a minimum 80% cumulative average. That being said, some of the programs are a little bit more competitive with averages that can extend a little bit higher than the 80%. Once you are admitted into a co-op program and you land here, you will be connected to a co-op coordinator who's somebody that you will meet right at the start of your journey at Trent. So in your first week during orientation week, and they'll be a good contact for you throughout the course of your degree. So they will help to keep you on track with what we call co-op progression requirements. So some of the progression requirements are listed on the screen. One of the main ones being we are looking for students to have a 75% cumulative GPA or cumulative average across their study terms. So you do not need that in every single one of your classes, but we are looking for that to be your cumulative average. Some co-op programs do also require you to complete a co-op prep course or a series of workshops to prepare you for your co-op work terms. You'll also be meeting one-on-one with your co-op coordinator, so they will get to know you, get a better sense of your career goals and interests, and geographically what areas you're willing to work, as our team does do a lot of strategic outreach with different employers in a variety of locations. So work terms are not necessarily just in Peterborough, they really can be anywhere across the GTA, in Ontario, even in another province. For your work term experiences, there are some pieces you do need to complete. So you will need to complete learning objectives at the beginning of your work term experience. So setting some learning goals for how you want the opportunity to go. You'll be completing a midterm and final evaluation of your experience, as well as a final work term report. Upon completing all of those pieces and receiving successful evaluations from your employer, you will have passed your work term experience and you move on to the next part of your work term schedule. And I'm going to pass it on to Hannah.
Hi, everyone. My name's Hannah Neff, and I'm a career resource advisor with CareerSpace. So I support with a lot of the career programming in our department, a lot of the workshops and appointments, which I'll tell you about in a moment. We wanted to take a moment just to tell you a little bit more about the placements and practica that Trent offers. So as Sabrina had mentioned at the start, this option is offered in a lot of different programs at Trent. So as Sabrina had mentioned, placements can take many different forms and can be kind of varying hours throughout your study term. You're kind of doing that concurrently with your studying. You are supported by a placement coordinator who can help you through your learning and any challenges that might arise, and kind of supporting you through the process in applying the learning that you've been doing throughout your studies. So it's a really amazing opportunity to get some workplace experience, but also learn from industry professionals. So I personally had several placement experiences throughout my undergrad at Trent. I got to work with a community food security organization in Peterborough. I also got to go abroad and do a placement in Ecuador. Got to work with a community organization that was developing a composting program for a condominium, all kinds of experiences. So it really enriched my experience at Trent. So this is just a small list of some of the programs that offer those placement opportunities. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about what your program of interest offers, you can always check out the department website as well. Some are throughout the entire study term and some might be a smaller portion. So there are all kinds of options. Some are placements and some are practica, which are overseen by a registered industry professional, such as a registered social worker, for example, or a teacher. So lots and lots of different options for you here. Okay. Another really exciting thing that we have at CareerSpace is the Trent Community Research Center. So just to tell you a little bit about TCRC, which has been operating for over 25 years in the community. we work closely with organizations in Peterborough, City of Kawartha Lakes, Durham Region, and Northumberland County. And really at the heart of TCRC is meeting the needs of the community. So community organizations are able to approach TCRC with their research questions. So if they see a need within the community or within their organization, they're able to coordinate with our Trent Community Research Center coordinators, let them know what their research question might be, how they foresee this kind of being approached, and how they see the research potentially being undertaken. Coordinators work closely with the organization as well as faculty members at Trent and match students with research projects that would match their interests and their areas of expertise. So there has been some really amazing work done by students at Trent that have really helped to enrich the community and really support organizations in the great work that they are doing. So this research is done for credit, so students are able to gain academic credit when they undertake this research. It's usually done in upper years of study. And again, you're getting that support from faculty, you're working closely with the organization and career space with the TCRC coordinator. So it's really a collaborative effort, and there's some really, really interesting projects. So this is one from last year, engaging at-risk youth in alternative settings, and the partner organization for this was Trillium Lakeland's District School Board. So students engaged in research to increase participation in programming for at-risk youth. So they were engaged in kind of seeing where the gaps were, what would increase participation, what were the experiences of students, and how was the programming meeting those needs. And so it's really meaningful work that they're doing. You can see the impact that it's making. And one of the really amazing ways that we get to see that too is with our celebration of research at the end of the year, where the community is invited, Trent students are invited, faculty, organizations, and it is such a wonderful event where we get to see all of the amazing work that is being done by the Trent Community Research Center. Okay, so at CareerSpace, we are really here to support you with your career development, and that involves helping you answer questions like, what are my options? What can I do with my degree? That's a really common question that we get. And so we even created a resource that's called What Can I Do With My Degree? Because it's such a common question. And you're learning so much. Trent is so interdisciplinary. There are so many different paths that you can take. And so we're really here to support you in thinking about how your interests, your goals, your values, your skills, how all those different things intersect and how they might relate to the world of work and your career. So we can help you think about what those options might be, how your path might look a little bit more like this than you might have thought, which is a really beautiful thing. How you can search for work, how you can find out where the jobs are, how many jobs might there be in the future in your field or industry, how might things change, and really give you the tools to do that research so you can make really informed decisions for yourself about what things might look like for you in the future. We also help you with work search skills like how to build a resume and your cover letter and your LinkedIn profile, how to have an effective online presence. What's an informational interview? How can you learn from industry professionals? So we're really here to help kind of build that skill set in students and alumni too. So you do maintain access to those services after you graduate. So you can always come back for support. So we offer lots of different appointments one-on-one, like job search, career counseling, further education advising, resume, cover letter critiques, LinkedIn assistance. We also offer a number of career readiness workshops. So I get to go into classes and help support students in their preparation for experiential learning opportunities of all types. But we also offer workshops that are open to all students. So all students at Trent can come and learn those skills in a more collaborative, hands-on format as well with a group, offered online and in person as well. We also have been very lucky to launch our program of career peers. And so this has been an amazing way that we can support students. We have a team of 4 career peers who are trained in these same work search skills, who can support their fellow students along their work search journey. So that involves supporting with resume critiques and things like that, and their job search strategies, how to find on-campus opportunities, and other topics. So at CareerSpace, we also support with a number of work search opportunities. The first is on-campus employment. So we at CareerSpace, we do host a student and alumni job board. And on the job board, you will find a lot of on-campus opportunities as well as off-campus opportunities. So thousands of opportunities a year are posted for positions in the Peterborough community and beyond, nationally and internationally too. But we also post the on-campus opportunities for students on that student and alumni job board. So you can find opportunities to work with departments like CareerSpace, colleges, athletics, dining services, conference services, all kinds of opportunities to get involved with your Trent community in a part-time on-campus work opportunity. So we sometimes get questions about, what jobs you might be able to apply for. There is some funding that's set aside specifically for students who are receiving OSAP, but there's also funding that's for jobs for students who aren't receiving OSAP, funding for international students. So there are opportunities for all students on campus. And we'll guide you through that process as well. We also host employer information sessions. So sometimes employers are really interested in coming to campus, actually a lot of the time, and talking with students on campus. So we're able to host them and connect them with students, sometimes in partnership with specific programs, but often, just open to anyone as well. We also have career expos and fairs, which I think I'll be telling you about on the next slide. Yes, so throughout the year, CareerSpace hosts a number of events to help connect students and alumni with opportunities to get experience, work opportunities, volunteer opportunities. So in the fall, in September, we welcome everyone back to campus with our volunteer fair, which is a really great event. We host that in person, and we have a number of organizations from the community who set up their booth. It's always a beautiful day for some reason, and we are able to get students out who can connect with organizations, maybe get to see the turtles who often come to campus as well. And there are all kinds of different opportunities to get involved with organizations supporting people and the environment and all sorts of different amazing projects. We also have the Graduate and Further Education Expo, where we invite other schools to present to students and connect with students about their programs that they have for further education opportunities, as well as Trent programs as well. Throughout the year, we also have a number of career and experience expos. So that includes expos that are specific to certain industries, as well as expos that are specific to summer jobs or other types of opportunities as well. So it's a great chance for students to network, get to know what opportunities there are out there, just get to meet and chat with employers and find out about what sorts of jobs they might be able to get involved with after they graduate or even throughout their studies. As I mentioned, we have the celebration of research at the end of the year in March, on-campus and virtual employer sessions. And finally, Life After Trent, which is a really great way for students to learn what they might be able to do with their degree after they graduate too. So we often do this in partnership with different departments, and we invite industry professionals to come and chat with students about what their career path has been like and just kind of share their knowledge. And it's a chance to ask questions and to get to know each other. So these are really great networking events and ways to learn about what your options are. And that brings us to the end of our presentation portion. We do have a few emails on the screen there if you would like to connect with us. If any questions come up for you after today, we would love to hear from you and get your question answered. But I know there is lots of time for questions now, so I will pass it back over to Chloe.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the presentation. Super helpful. Trent, we're really known for all the experiential learning that we get to do on and off campus. So this was a great resource for potential students. So we have really great questions that just popped in the chat. So the first one is, do you apply for a co-op program through the OUAC, or can you apply at the end of your first year at Trent?
Yeah, it's a great question. So you will want to predominantly apply on OUAC. That is going to be the best way. Co-ops are predominantly a direct entry program. So depending on the program you want, there might be an opportunity to transfer in your first year. It would be in the winter term. Transfer in typically takes place in between January and February. It's a form that you would fill out, and we do assess you based on your average from your first term at Trent. Among other requirements, we'll just make sure that you meet. That being said, not all co-op programs offer a transfer in pathway. So if you are interested in co-op, I would definitely say apply direct entry through OUAC would be the best way. If you decide co-op's not the right fit, it's a lot easier to just drop the co-op portion than it is to get into a co-op program.
Awesome. Thank you. So we have a question here saying, hi there, I've recently accepted my offer to Trent Water Science program. So congratulations, that is so amazing. So they're just curious if there are any career opportunities throughout my undergrad, such as studying abroad.
Anna, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I know there are a lot of opportunities to get involved. I know there's the Trent Water Quality Center. There are a lot of hands-on opportunities to get some experience throughout your degree in that program. In terms of studying abroad specifically, that is operated through our Trent International office. And so I would kind of defer to their expertise in that area, but maybe we could get this person connected with that contact with Kate Logan probably in study abroad, and we can get that question answered for them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give the question and then I'll type the email in the chat afterwards. So the next one is, how does Trent assist students in finding suitable placements?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's kind of interesting. We use the word placement. At Trent, we're very all about like the language we use with experiential opportunities because we have so many. So in terms of like a formal field placement, there would be a placement coordinator who is tied to the opportunity that would be supporting. Faculty also support who would instruct a placement course. And so typically opportunities are shared with students, and they would have an opportunity to select which opportunities are of interest. They would interview, and then there would be like a matching process that would happen. If you're talking about a co-op work term experience, it is similar in that we would find a whole number of opportunities and we would share them with co-op students on an online job board, on our co-op job board. It's through a platform that we use called the Student Experience Portal that all Trent students will use and have access to. The only difference with co-op is that we don't match a student to an employer or to an opportunity. It really simulates that real-world recruitment cycle. So students do need to be applying, interviewing, and then receiving a successful offer to begin a work term.
Awesome, thank you. So another question. So hi. Actually, I missed one, so let's go back to the one I missed. So this is a grad student question, so hopefully we can maybe try to answer that one as well. So how can a graduate student apply for on-campus job during their graduate course?
Yeah, so we would direct you to the student experience portal to apply for on-campus opportunities for the most part. There are some opportunities like marker grader or TA positions that are available that you'll find on the Trent hiring page. But for other on-campus opportunities, those are for the most part found on the student experience portal. And we do actually have an on-campus job tip sheet, which I'd be happy to link to you as well in the chat. So you can take a look. That kind of goes through some of the timelines for different departments and hiring. But you do get your access to the student experience portal at the same time that you get your My Trent access. So at that time, you'd be able to begin exploring those opportunities. They are offered kind of all throughout the year in different cycles, depending on the hiring needs of the department. So if you don't see much right away, we just encourage you to keep checking back.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that's a popular question. A lot of students want to work on campus and stuff, so a really great resource there as well. Next question is, hi, I've received an offer letter from Trent for business HR and marketing management. So congrats on your offer. That's amazing. And my classes start on January 8th. I also need to register for my courses, but have not received any resources to register on my courses. Hope you could help me out. I don't know if that's something we could answer on the live stream. Yeah.
I would not be able to answer that. I think
That's what
that
I'm
might be
thinking.
maybe a question for the School of Business,
Yeah,
perhaps.
even maybe contacting Trent's registrar just to be able to figure out kind of how to figure out and navigate your courses. I will put their emails in the chat as well as the studying abroad link. So all that information I'll put in the chat for you guys for sure. So another great question is, I have applied for English literature and have received an offer of acceptance. Yay, so many acceptances tonight. But does that mean I can also do the co-op in the program?
Yeah, so it would depend if you applied to the English Literature Co-op, that would be listed as a separate program on OUAC. If you just applied to English Literature without the co-op, then the best option would be to transfer into co-op in your winter term. So when you arrive to campus, you can get in touch with our office and I can provide you all the information you would need to apply to transfer in. And to transfer in, we're looking at a minimum 75% cumulative average across your fall courses.
So good question here. What kind of co-op opportunities are available for someone going into an English literature program?
Yeah, I actually just love talking about the co-op job opportunities because I was also an art student myself, and it's something I really wish existed when I was in school because I think it's such a great opportunity for career exploration. And a reason I love co-op is actually because those work experiences are not for academic credit. We have so much flexibility in terms of where you go. So we would do a lot of one-to-one work to get a better sense of your interests and your career goals. And then we could do our best to find something that is a good fit for you and support you in preparing for that opportunity. So for something like English, it's so broad, right? Like a lot of the humanities and social sciences disciplines, it would kind of depend on what your interests are within that. But it could be something like writing and editing or technical writing, marketing and communications or multimedia, evaluation or research. It really could be anything. So we would really explore that with you and see what your interests were.
Awesome. Another question here. Hi, a little off topic, but do you guys look at the upgraded grades? So for example, if I redo math in night school, will you take the redo grade to count towards my 80% average to be able to do the co-op? I hope that makes sense.
That is also an answer, Chloe, I don't know
Yeah.
about. That's an admissions question.
Yeah, so just to
Yeah,
answer it off the top of my head, we do kind of look at the last grade that you submit. So as long as we have to accept the offer by June. So as long as you finish that grade, the math that you are in before June, you should be able to, we reevaluate the evaluation just to be sure you meet all the admission requirements. So yes, if you do finish with that overall grade, you will most likely be in our co-op stream. Just a reminder, co-op is pretty competitive, so we always say to aim for the higher end of the admission requirements. I know for business, it's 87 to 92%, so just kind of aiming towards the higher end of the stream always when you're looking at your grades for admission to co-op programs. But that's a good question. Someone said that they applied for financial analytics and they haven't gotten an offer yet. Is there still hope for me? Of course there is. Offers go out on a rolling basis. So do not worry if you haven't heard back just yet. We send them out as we go. Typically for more competitive programs, they do go out a little later in the season. So by March, April, you should have kind of that offer letter there for you. So good to point it out. So here we have a great question. So what happens if a student has been unsuccessful in acquiring a work term placement?
Yeah, it's a great question. So a couple pieces with that. We do say we can't guarantee every student a co-op work opportunity, but we really only say that because there is a lot of accountability on the student to be putting in quite a bit of work to land that. So if you were working with us, you were in communication with us, you're applying to positions, you're receiving interviews, you're attending your interviews, I would not be worried about not securing an opportunity. It would be more if you were maybe not showing up to interviews or you only applied to 1 or 2 co-op jobs and stopped applying at that point in time. If you did have a situation where you didn't secure an offer, what we would do is you would be working with your co-op coordinator, if it was your first work term you missed, to see when we could map that out in your schedule, and we would remap that opportunity for you. When we do that, it does run a risk of you graduating a little bit later because we do have to keep in mind when academic courses run and when your degree requirements specifically are running to find out where that work term can be mapped. So it might require just finishing a semester later. But if we don't have to do that, we will try our best to map that out for you just later in your degree, but you'll still graduate at the same time.
Thank you. Next question is, are there co-op opportunities for history students? And if so, what type of experiences would they be?
Absolutely, there
Mhm.
are. Yeah, history is actually one of our most popular humanities co-op programs, which is really great. We had a couple history co-op students that were actually out to work this term. So they were working in places like museums, libraries, and archives predominantly. But that being said, again, with all of these work terms, it can be so broad. So if you were a history student, but you had like a really specific interest in a certain field or industry, we would do our best to find something more targeted for you. But I will say, yeah, history students, there seems to be a real draw for the museums and archives and library work.
Awesome. I don't know if you would know this off the top of your head, but the next question is for the English literature. What is the I can never say this word.
Yeah,
The
cumulative.
cumulative average to get into the co-op.
Yeah, so English literature is the 80%. Most of the humanities and social sciences, all of them actually, we're looking at that 80%. It's the criminology program of the humanities and social sciences is a bit more competitive, and we're looking closer to an 85 to a 90% cumulative average. But if you have the 80%, you should be getting an offer to English.
Awesome. Next question is, not sure if you can answer this question, but how many students will you be accepting to your conservation biology co-op program for fall 2024?
Mhm. I don't have a number off the top of my head, but in previous years, it is quite a competitive program, and there's typically around like 15 to 20 spots per year. With conservation biology, though, there is an opportunity to transfer in the winter term as well of your first year. So that would be advertised to you.
Okay, well, there's no questions currently in the chat, but I do have a few questions myself that I do get on the road. Um, Maybe can we give us some examples of different career experiential learning opportunities in our different programs that could interest certain students?
Like in different co-op programs or just any
Kind of just
programs?
any program, like maybe more of our psychology, sociology type programs. I know those are popular programs that get asked on the road about, so
Mhm.
any of those.
I can highlight some opportunities of where co-op students are working. So we have like I have an Indigenous Studies student right now who is working as an Indigenous history research intern at a library. We have some gender and social justice students that are doing some really cool nonprofit work experiences, which are always quite popular. So we have one student who was doing a gender equality project through the Kawartha World Issue Center. So they were facilitating to groups and community and educating them on topics around gender equality. Um, Also had a student who was coordinating our Fem STEAM event in Peterborough and the Kawarthas this year with junior achievement. So that was an exciting opportunity. Had a student, a media studies student who was working in sports media. And so their opportunity was they were actually working at Trent Athletics and they were going to all the varsity games, interviewing athletes, doing write-ups about the games. So some really cool opportunities. Co-ops can also be on campus. So while we do post majority of off-campus positions, if you did have an interest in working in higher education or specifically, working with a certain department, that is something we could explore as well. And then I know we have so many great community partners and groups that take placement and practicum students. So lots of nonprofits in town take like social work students. We have the Peterborough Regional Health Center that takes a lot of nursing students. So it is quite broad. I don't know if you want to add anything, Hannah.
I feel like you covered it pretty well. I get to go into a lot of classes to help students prepare for their experiential learning, and I'm always in awe in about what students get to do. Like, um, the other day I was in biomedical science class and students had kind of been able to help with some really interesting surgeries in ways that they hadn't anticipated or thought that they'd be able or allowed to help. And they were so excited. It was so cool it's one of my favorite parts of my job is getting to hear of all the amazing things that students get to do. So
Yeah, it's cool to see the diversity of the stuff students can do as well, no matter what the program is. And I feel like that's something they always will remember at Trent is the experience that they gained as well. So, very good point.
yeah, we have really great placement coordinators and employer liaisons who are working really hard to make sure we have a lot of diverse opportunities for students to meet lots of different interests as well. So yeah, the list is always growing, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's good to know. A quick question here. A little bit off topic, but do you also help find internships?
So we have internships that run out of the School of Business. And so there are great staff, like Hannah mentioned, that are there to support students through all the different forms of experiential learning. They might not always be in the career space office, but we do have great folks in the School of Business that support students with placements, internships, and co-op experiences. And they would support with finding those opportunities and connecting you to employers.
Yeah, and career space helps with preparing your documents that you might need to apply. So we often partner with School of Business for internships early on in the fall and come and chat with students about how to build an effective resume and cover letter and prepare for interviews as well.
Awesome. This person says, sorry, could you tell me again how to apply for co-op? Do all students have to do it?
Not all students have to do it,
No.
but if you wanted to apply, you would apply the same way as you would for any of Trent's undergraduate programs. So on OUAC, you would log in there and you would select the program with co-op that you want to apply to.
Thank you. This is a very good question. So, can a co-op position schedule work with a double major? Would that limit your options?
Yeah, it's a great question. So a lot of our co-op programs are quite new at Trent. So we are working to explore all the great things you can do with co-op. Currently, joint majors are not an option with co-op. It is quite a bit to map out academically with all the degree requirements for both majors and then with your work term schedule. That being said, we do have specializations, we have options, and we have minors that you could pursue with a single major for co-op. Co-op students can also study abroad, as any student can apply to study abroad, typically in their third year. And because those co-op work terms are not for an academic credit, like I said, they're so diverse in terms of what you can do and where you can go. So if you were doing like gender and social justice with a minor in English, because we've been talking about those programs, and you wanted a work term that was more in line with what an English student was doing rather than gender and social justice, you could totally do that, right? We could explore how you can bring the lens of gender and social justice and what you learn in the classroom into a work experience where the focus is more on English or those skills. So that is something we can explore, even if your major on paper is a single major.
Thank you. Next question is, I want to know about human resource and management course. What is the opportunity for students after this course? So I don't know if you mean the postgraduate certificate or the actual specialization, but yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to touch on that.
Yeah, sure. So there are all kinds of opportunities in human resources. It's something that is useful in pretty much any organization, right? So anywhere from recruitment and onboarding to learning and development and training, um, labor relations, equity work, training and development, employee relations. The list goes on, consulting. So, Sabrina, I know you had unmuted for a moment too, if I missed anything there, but you can, there are lots of opportunities where you can do a little bit of everything, right? Maybe working with a smaller organization and being more of a human resources generalist, but there are also lots of chances to specialize and kind of hone your skill set. So it's very, very useful in many, many contexts.
So we're getting a few questions about scholarships. So unfortunately, we're just going to cover co-ops and career experiences here, but we do have other live streams going on. So the financial aid live stream was last week, so I will pop in the chat the link to rewatch those if you're interested in finding out more information, not only about scholarships, but admissions. And then tomorrow we do have our housing stream as well. So I will post that in the chat for you. So you'll be able to check it out when you want. And you could also rewatch this presentation as well. That'll be added on tomorrow. That's one of the jobs I'll have to do tomorrow. So expect that in the chat there as well. So I don't know if we have any other questions that you guys may have. We do have about 10-ish minutes left to our stream, so feel free to ask any question. And here's that link right there that you guys can save if you need. I'll ask a question, just a question that I do get on the road. So a lot of students are unsure if they should apply for the co-op stream, kind of hesitant because of their grades. They're not sure if they're gonna achieve the admission requirements. So what would you recommend for those students who are unsure about what they're interested in?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend applying. I'm very much of the mindset, always apply, always see, you never know. Some programs are more competitive than other co-op programs as well. So you might be applying to a program that's maybe a little bit less competitive and you have a better shot at getting in. Like I mentioned, it is a lot easier to be in a co-op program to start rather than transferring in later on as well. Like some of our co-op programs, our business and accounting co-ops, do not offer a transfer in pathway. So if you're considering one of those, I would definitely say apply at this time. But if you're considering a different program and you don't get in, please don't worry. You can always apply to transfer in. And aside from co-op, there are so many great forms of experiential learning at Trent that you can pursue, where you're still going to gain great hands-on experience, those marketable skills, and all of the connections to industry professionals.
Yeah, and just to clarify, like, it's possible to switch in and out of a co-op program very easily at Trent.
Yeah,
So,
so when you say switch in, it's definitely possible to switch out. It's harder
yes.
to switch in. So how co-op works, it's not an opportunity that you would just pick up and do a single co-op experience. You do have to be a registered co-op student and you do need to follow that exact schedule, complete 3 work term experiences to graduate with co-op noted on your degree parchment. So when you're in, if you feel like it's not the right fit or you want to pursue a different form of experiential learning instead, you can always transfer out. That's no problem. You can do that on your own. It's very easy to do. If you wanted to transfer back in, that would be more like setting up an appointment with a co-op coordinator and seeing if that would even be feasible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fun question here. What kind of career opportunities would be available for forensic science?
Sure, there are lots of diverse kind of pathways that interest students in forensic science. I guess some common ones would be maybe probation and parole, policing, um, evidence technician, kind of looking at DNA evidence, fingerprint technician. Um, some students are interested in kind of victim witness support. So there are all kinds of different directions that interest students, and many decide to go on to further education. Some are more interested in working in a lab. It kind of with any of the programs, there are all kinds of different work environments that might suit one student's interests over another. So I think it's all about just kind of keeping an open mind and kind of where the options can take you. But I guess those are a few kind of um, common interests of students that we meet with.
Yeah, science is a very popular program on the road, and it's so diverse because you could either do it as a science or an art. So it really does speak to a variety of different students.
Sure, and I can definitely link our "What can I do with my degree" page for all the programs actually, and folks can go and find their program. We are working on updating with a few, so if you don't see your exact program, you will see something that's quite similar, but you should see your program there soon.
Awesome. Someone's asking, can you do an honors in accounting and also a co-op in accounting? Do you know if there's any honors in accounting?
So if you're talking about like doing an honors degree, absolutely. All of the co-op programs are 4-year honors degrees. And with the accounting, you would be doing, it's a Bachelor of Business Administration, it's an honors program, and then you would do a specialization in accounting. And if you select the accounting co-op, then you would be completing 3 work experiences over the course of your degree. So you graduate with your BBA honors in accounting plus co-op.
Awesome. The person says thanks, so that's great. Any other questions? A popular question we also do get on a road is, do you have to pay to be in the co-op stream, or is it something that you kind of get with your tuition fees and stuff like that?
Yeah, so there is a co-op fee that co-op students do pay. It's a $750 fee, and you pay it 5 times throughout your degree program. So here are my positives about having to pay a co-op fee. The first is that we are actually on the low end of other post-secondaries in Ontario and in Canada with that co-op fee. The co-op fee goes towards the administration of the co-op programs, fostering employer relationships, job development pieces. We'll do networking events for students, social events for co-op students. So it kind of supports the infrastructure of the co-op programs. And the second piece is that if you are a student in financial need, we have developed a co-op assistance bursary program that you can apply to throughout your degree. You're eligible to receive the bursary up to 3 times over the course of your degree, and it would offset the cost of that co-op fee. Other than that, the co-op experiences are fully paid. So you are bringing in money every time you are doing a co-op experience. They need to be paid at least minimum wage, but we often see positions going way above that for co-op students. So that is also a nice piece. And then when you're on a work term, you're not paying any tuition. You are fully out with the employer as a 4-month or sometimes 8-month contract employee.
That's great. We always say like Trent pays you for
Yeah.
co-op. So it's never forget that when you're looking at co-ops, like it's that paid work experience that you're really looking for and kind of getting your feet wet in a job field that you could be interested in, seeing if it's for you, tapping into all your different interests and stuff. So it's a really great opportunity. I really recommend students to apply and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A question here. How do you apply for co-op if you didn't do it through the OUAC? So the OUAC.
Yeah. So a couple of pieces, I know I mentioned that transfer in pathway. So if you do accept an offer to Trent and it's not in co-op, if you are interested in a co-op program, depending on the program, there's likely a transfer in pathway that you can apply to. The second thing, Chloe, I'm not sure if you would know, but I would almost suggest seeing if they could contact admissions and seeing if it's how they can still apply if
Yeah,
they didn't
so what
already.
you could do is you could actually reverse what you've applied for. So let's just take business, for example. So if you applied to the business program without the co-op, you could actually drop your offer there, and then you can transfer it. It's free, so the fees kind of you don't have to pay the fee. So it's a great opportunity if you make a little mistake. I know that website's kind of tricky. So there is a way to reverse the offer. So you could drop the non-co-op and apply for the business with the co-op as an example. And if you don't get into the business, we do also, like we mentioned before, offer those alternate offers. So that's why we say apply for the co-op, go for it, because if not, we'll just give you another offer and you can always try to get in afterwards as well. So, is there any more questions? Someone says thank you. You're welcome. Oh, perfect. You can still do it if you have already received an offer of acceptance. Yes, you can. If it doesn't work, I would recommend reaching out to admissions at trentu.ca. But typically you can reverse that even if you have received an offer, which is really great. Good question. Someone says this was great. Thank you. Well, thank you for attending. This was really fun. Any other last minute questions before we do end off the session? Well, I would just like to thank both Hannah and Sabrina for taking the time out of their day, evening to join this live stream. This was super helpful. I feel like every time I join and listen to you guys, I'd learn something new every time. So super helpful for me. So I'm sure it's very helpful for our students. Just a reminder that these are recorded, so if you want to rewatch and even the other streams, like I mentioned before, please feel free to do so. We do have amazing contact information that I will also leave in the chat. It's just our Discover inbox, so if you do have any questions about applications, deadlines, anything, admissions, please feel free to reach out to these emails right here. We answer them every day, so you may get an answer from me or any of one of my colleagues. So definitely recommend doing that if you're interested. Someone says, thank you so much for an informative session. You're welcome, guys. This is what we do here, answering your questions. So this was super fun. Final question here. Can you give a link for what I can do with my degree? I'm not too sure what program you're interested in, but if you type it, we can definitely send you over some information of your specific degree.
Felicia, or sorry, Chloe, there is actually a link that I shared with you in the
Oh,
chat. If you want
perfect.
to share that with folks, I wasn't able to share with everyone.
Awesome. So I'll share that right now. Thanks for the question. Okay. Here's that link right there. I'll also send the CareerSpace website. It's a very great tool that we use as well as on the road. Let me just search it up. There's everything on this website. So if you want to dive a little deeper, learn a little more about Trent, this website is another great resource as well. But yeah, I think that's it for us. Well, thank you so much for attending, everyone. And don't forget, if you have any other questions, we're always available for you. So have a good evening.